Hey folks, it's Rob and welcome back. We're not continuing today. No. I'm continuing my D&D series, but we're starting a new part. As you can see, we have our Dungeons and Dragons fantasy role-playing game Expert Rules Set 2. And it's called this because this is set 2 in the series. Uh, this follows on from the Red Box. And these were both published in 1983. 84. And as you can see, we have a lovely piece of Elmore on the front here once again. And we're continuing our theme of fighting the dragon. This time, we're outside, though. We're not in the dungeon. And that's a big focus of this part of the expansion of the rules, where instead of it just being a dungeon crawl, you have a outside world and environment, an entire fantasy world. And, Elmore never fails. I always love Elmore. Um, as you can see down here, it says this game requires no game board because the action takes place in the player's imagination with wilderness adventures that include new monsters, treasures, and magic. Ideal for 3 or more beginning to advanced players ages 10 and up. And, you know, I think this particular box is in pretty darn good shape, actually. It's got a very slight denting here in the corner and a bit of wear on the corner, right? Um, but it's otherwise not crushed, not dinged to heck, not dirty. Here we have the back. As you can see, this would have included another set of dice and another crayon. This includes one rule book and one module, the Isle of Dread. Uh, Dungeons and Dragons Fantasy Adventure Game Expert Set Expansion Rules for the D&D Basic Set. This is set number 2. Do not buy this set until you have set number 1. These were released together, so these were both on shelves at the same time. And you really wouldn't want to buy this one without having access to the other one, even though a lot of what you need to play is actually in this book if you know how to play. So, um, if your friend happened to have the basic set, you could probably get by if you weren't running the game. If you're just playing. But then again, maybe you didn't even need this if you're just playing, really. Uh, we just really needed one set of rules to pass around when needed. People didn't necessarily need to have their own set. This box contains all you need to continue the adventure. Endless hours of adventures. Why? That's very convenient that it fits in this box. Endless hours of adventure. The D&D expert set for character levels 4 through 14, including more combat rules, magic spells, treasures, monsters, and added rules for wilderness adventures. Module X1, Isle of Dread, a combined wilderness and dungeon adventure on a remote island filled with savages and prehistoric monsters. All the dice you need, 6 different kinds included with marker crayon. When you're ready for new challenges, try the Dungeons and Dragons Companion Set. Specially designed to expand your fun into a whole fantasy universe, continue the adventure with D&D Companion Set with more advanced rules, more treasures, more monsters, and more fun. And, we have our copyright and the old 80s logo, I like to call it. This one has, copyrights for 74, 77, 78, 81, and 83. Let's open her up. You can see that I had the box in backwards, I believe. Now, here we have our contents, and I'm quite pleased with how fairly clean this book is. And you can see the cover art is on the book. There is only one rule book included, unlike the other set, because this includes Dungeon Masters and players' instructions on the inside of the book. And player section is designated by this gray border, while the DM section is designated by this black border. You're supposed to be on the honor system for not reading up on the Dungeon Master stuff, if you're not supposed to. And also included is X1, Isle of Dread, uh, with the updated cover, right? Not because this is certainly a module that existed in the BX version of Backbeat, and I mean, there's a lot of ways of referring to those versions of the game, but this this contains basically a full sandbox campaign for when you're ready to start heading out into the wider world. So it's an excellent module. It's included with every expert set, but it also was sold individually for people who didn't have it or wanted to get it. And it's just perennial. Put our box aside. Now I'm just going to switch over for a moment here um, to the PDF version, just to show you a couple things about the PDF version. Uh, let's see here. So you can see actually the tone is much bluer and darker. It's basically the cover of the book, not the box. And if we get into it, we can see that the page here seems wider than the page here. And that's because they've trimmed off all those player and DM borders. So you can see players' information. And then they kind of like sometimes include the border and sometimes don't. Uh, you know, it's fine. Uh, you can get the PDF version on Drive-Thru RPG, obviously, and that's an easy and inexpensive way for you to get a hold of the rules without you needing to go and find a physical copy or to risk your physical copy, right? Um, I find both are convenient in their own way. Uh, the it is useful to have a PDF version, and it is also useful, in my opinion, to have the physical copy because I like physical copies. I like being able to read and refer to them and know exactly where in the book I'm supposed to be finding things. But at the same time, it is, this is a physical object that is fairly, let's face it, it's got two staples for a binding. It is, you know, uh, 64 pages of you know, just paper with a not even thick card cover. Uh, you don't want to spill stuff on your things. You don't want to wear this out, but at the same time, you want to appreciate the things you have and don't just keep them under glass. That's my opinion, anyway. Maybe you do want to keep them under glass. I certainly have been gifted some collectible items I haven't opened because they are in such nice condition and shape and sealed that I just don't dare be the one to open it up for unless I have some reason to do so. Um, and in a way, I feel that's a bit sad because, but until I'm ready to crack that seal and just like enjoy that thing, I'm going to let them stay sealed for their own protection. That's my compromise position on that. If I never get to it, I never get to it. So be it. Main thing I gotta say about the wear on this is a bit scuffed here and a little bit on that corner here, and there's a little bit of a dent right there, or something a little hard on the cover. But otherwise, an excellent copy. It's not written in, you know, uh, which I'm of the opinion of sometimes that just shows a bit of love. I did get a second basic set, which does have stuff written in it, and I work around it. It's perfectly fine. Uh, I'm still a level 2 character in my regular online game. I play monthly, and it I just keep that copy to hand for rules reference because I'm still playing very bottom level halfling, uh, and I saved up money to buy this after I got the bread box set and started discovering kids at school who also play D&D. And I went to the Zenith Hobby Shop in Chicago. It's probably long gone. It's across all the landmarks I can think of are all ancient because I haven't lived in Chicago in 25 years. Uh, but it used to be on Irving by Austin, if you know Chicago. Um, and I'd go there because they would sell me. First off, I used to go there before I knew about Dungeons and Dragons because I liked model trains because of being that kind of little boy. And I wanted to buy a little Jupiter engine for my railroad set. But I saw they had a whole section of role playing games. And after I started playing role playing games, because I was gifted my red box set, check out that series if you want to hear about that tale. But I saved up my allowance for quite a while to buy the Experts book set and other later sets. Because I was 11 or 10. Was I 10 or was I 11? I was probably 11 because I probably already had my birthday that year. It was, 84. And um, this cost, I think, I want to say like $12 or $15 new at the time, which I only got like $3 a week allowance for doing my chores. So, it was save everything I had for an entire month or have a little bit of money for something else. Plus, occasionally I wanted to buy a copy of Dragon magazine, which costs $3. Um, so, that's largely what I spent my money on. Sad, I know, for some people, but, my mother would buy me games most of the time when I was like sick, like when I got the chicken pox, right? She bought me my copy of BattleTech when I had the chicken pox and a copy of Auto Duel, which, Car Wars, sorry. And those were great. I love those. Sometimes I get a bit of Christmas money too. But I remember one year I bought Axis and Allies with my Christmas money, thinking it was something else. Did like how it had like 300 little plastic pieces and everything, and that was great. But anyhow, it's a massive diversion. I spent my pocket money on role playing games because I was a geek, and it's fine. Uh, I'm not regretting that, but it did mean I only slowly accumulated things, and I had to be very selective with what I bought. So here we have our preface in unusually the photocopy resistant blue, which I'm not sure why they felt they needed to do that with this piece of Elmore art. And with the rear advertisement, we'll come back more to that in a future part, but it's an unusual choice, I feel. And I don't know why they did that because I've encountered plenty of modules where they would put this photocopier blue uh, on the maps and things like that to keep you from just making simple copies of their stuff. In fact, I'm pretty sure the module has some stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, see. This is to make it more difficult for you to photocopy. This is actually a full color section right here, and then we have an actual handout there. And again, this is meant to be hard to photocopy. Maybe these were I don't know, maybe the covers were printed together, but this is like 3-panel and this is 2-panel. Someone out there probably knows. They probably aren't watching my video, but someone out there probably knows. Um, let's read the preface. Preface. By the light of your torch, you have seen the sparkle of coins and gems. You have pried magical swords from their age-old resting places. Strange beasts have been met and overcome. Odd and unexpected friendships have come to light. You are an adventurer. After each perilous dungeon expedition, you have stepped out into the sunlight to return to your home. But what do you know of the green countryside, the farmers, golden fields, and the land beyond? What of your own? What of your town, friends, and neighbors? Indeed, noble traveler, what do you know of the world? Watch! The world around you is coming into focus. More details await your discovery in places far and near. Your quiet little hometown of Threshold is only the beginning. The Duke's mighty capital, Specularum, beckons to the south, to the southern coast. There you may visit the local marketplace, seeking the stories of foreign lands brought by caravans and traders. Take a raft downstream or follow a trail into the Gnome Hills. Adventure lurks at every turn. Gather knowledge, wealth, and power. You can build a castle, attract followers, and even become ruler of a land. All this lies in your future, and this is only the beginning. The horses are ready. Dawn is breaking. Whither are we bound? Frank Menser, May 1983. Earlier editions and rule changes. The Dungeons & Dragons game, first created in 1974, has changed as more and more people have played it. You may find 3 earlier versions: the original set, in small brown or white boxes, now collector's items, the Blue Book editions of 1978, and the Red Book edition of 1983. The original set was written by and for hobby gamers, but now, with millions of players around the world, a more generally understandable version is needed, the volume you now hold. Together with the new basic set, so many changes have occurred since 1973 that the task of explaining all of them would require a booklet of this size, and thus they are not included here. Use these rules along with those in the revised basic set whenever differences between the old and new rules occur. So basically they're telling you, these are the rules now. Now, as a dungeon master and as a player, the game is what it is. If you have something that you prefer in your game that you're running as a dungeon master, those are the rules that you're running, and make sure that the players know what you're doing. If you decide all weapons are going to be doing D6 damage, then all weapons do D6 damage, and that's what it is. If you're going to exclude like the thief class from the game, go ahead and do so, because these are differences that you would find in the original version of the game. Now, the differences between this and the BX copy is mostly in the thief area, and in the sense of rules, because the thief got rather nerfed for this edition of the game, because we now plot out to a level 36 to top out characters, and the BX edition was anticipating a companion set as well, which never got published, but they weren't planning on you going to like level 36 in the game. And really, that is what it is. I will also say that this does not describe an additional set of Dungeons & Dragons that was released while they were working on Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. And it's a little different. But all of these are basically cousins that speak the same language and have fairly minor differences in rules. So at the time, we always just interchanged stuff all the time. Like if we had, read an adventure in Dungeon and Dragon magazine and wanted to use it, it didn't really matter to us if it was for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons or for the basic set, or for D&D, uh, or what edition of D&D, right? Uh, so I want to stress here how, while this is this set of rules, you know, and I think these are a great set of rules. By the way, I think BECME is top shelf. Um, for accessibility and for general speed and ease of play, but also interest in game and material available for it. But I also love second edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I love first edition Dungeons and Dragons. I even like when I was playing with my friends, we didn't really care about the differences between that BX and the basic expert books. Um, it wasn't noticeable, the differences between them. If we need to use them for resources for like monsters, these monsters will use the same stats. I mentioned in a bonus video of I used monster cards, which were available commercially at the time, to supplement my monster pile, and as a tool. And later on, I got myself in hard copy AD&D books, right? And I didn't stop playing this or the other versions of the game. We would decide we were playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and we would make characters for that. But it didn't mean I wasn't drawing inspiration from this kind of stuff if I wanted to. Anyhow, that's going to be effectively our start on this. I know we have not really started. We read the preface and about the earlier edition and rule changes, and I've blathered on about my life for 20 some odd minutes at this point. So I'm going to let up, and uh, we'll join us again next time when we start getting to this more proper. You have a great day. Thank you very much for watching. As this is a new series for me, please, if you like the content, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed and you want to get my content, please hit the subscribe button. These things are very important and useful to my channel and YouTube. It's good feedback for me, and I appreciate your comments and attention. Have a great day. Goodbye.